fluency, fast. That's what everybody wants. And while there is no magic trick to become fluent in a language really quickly, there are steps that you can take to make the journey to fluency a lot less painful, a lot easier, and ultimately help you achieve what you're trying to achieve a lot faster than if you're not following any process at all. In this video, we are going to go over each step that you can take in order to create a plan so that you can reach fluency faster. If you want to be successful, then the first thing that you need to do is create a situation that supports your success. Your first step is to create a regular study schedule. I'm using the word study very loosely in this case. I don't mean that you need to be sitting with a textbook, filling in exercises. What I mean is that if you are having trouble prioritizing English input and output, so that means speaking, reading, writing, listening, then you need to set a time when you're going to work on those skills. I recommend that you choose a time when you are the most alert, the most awake. If you don't make it a priority and you pick a time when you are typically sleepy or just generally tired, then chances are you aren't going to really profit from the time that you spend doing whatever activity it is that you choose. For example, if you decide that you want to read for 15 minutes a day, pick a time when you know that you have the energy to read and commit to that time. So if you say, you know what, I'm going to read before bed, but you have a habit of falling asleep while you read, then you need to reorganize your schedule. One of the biggest factors that keeps you from making progress quickly is not practicing regularly enough. So if you can commit to a schedule, a specific time when you want to listen to a podcast, that will help you practice more regularly, create a habit, and in turn, make progress a little bit quicker. The second thing that you need to do is to use a variety of resources. One of the things that I really recommend doing is keeping a bank of the resources that you're interested in. So what I mean by that is to just open a spreadsheet, a notebook, whatever works for you. Anytime you find something that interests you, throw it into that document or that spreadsheet so that when it comes time to practice, you aren't wasting time thinking about what you should do because you'll have a bank and you can just open it up and select something. And in this way, you are more likely to try different things. One thing that you don't want to do is get stuck on one single podcast or one YouTube channel because you need to familiarize yourself with different accents, different manners of speaking. Mix up your activities. Make sure that you have a collection of things that you'd like to read that are from different genres. And the same thing goes for music or podcasts. In addition to that, make sure that you are speaking with a variety of different people. It is really important that you don't get stuck speaking to only one or two people, and then you become really familiar with the way that they speak so that when you have a conversation with someone new, you feel overwhelmed by a different accent, different vocabulary, the speed of their speech. By continually practicing with new people, you will feel more confident when it's time to have a conversation with somebody new. The next tip I have for you builds off of the last one, and it is to immerse yourself in English as much as possible. Even if you are not living in an English-speaking country, you can still surround yourself in quite a bit of English. We have the internet, baby. This isn't about studying. This is about enjoying English and surrounding yourself in a way that feels really natural. Pick some TV shows that you want to watch. Start reading the news in English. Take the things that you do daily in your native language and start doing them in English. If you have a habit of reading the news in the morning, let's say, start reading some of it in English. You can start writing your grocery shopping lists in English. You can switch the language of your computer and your phone to English. Start transitioning your world around you into English and create your own immersion while remaining in your own country. The next step is to speak. This can really feel like a challenge when you feel like you have nobody to practice with. But there are loads of language learning apps that you can use to find a speaking partner. If you have a favorite app that you like to use to practice speaking, comment it below. I'd love to hear what is working for you, and also it would be really helpful for other people. If you think that finding a speaking partner is a challenge, I completely agree with you. And one of the major reasons for that is when you are seeking someone to practice speaking a language with, you are maybe neglecting the fact that you don't have a lot in common. The only thing you have in common is that you want to speak English. And that is why I really recommend another additional approach. Think about your hobbies and your interests and find groups that are not about learning English, but about talking about that hobby or that specific interest that you have. This is an excellent way to make connections that might feel a lot more natural. You could join a course, you could join a Facebook group that is about that topic. Again, I'm not talking about the topic of practicing speaking English, but a specific interest that you might have. If you are interested in art or IT, whatever it is, find a group and participate in conversations with those people. I have found this to be a much easier way to have more meaningful conversations that don't feel so forced. Speaking is probably one of the most important things that you need to do. The more you speak, the faster you will build your fluency. You gotta speak. Prioritize this over everything else. The next really important aspect you need to consider if you are trying to reach fluency quickly is motivation. Motivation comes and goes, and it is important for you to keep up some kind of momentum. Otherwise, you give up. Because learning a language takes a lot of time and effort, and if you lose that motivation, it's possible that you might give up, which you don't want to do. In order to not lose motivation, you need to concentrate on discipline. I'll go back to step number 1 when I said create a regular study schedule. That is discipline. Make a promise to yourself and keep it. On top of that, you need to enjoy what you are doing. That is one way to stay motivated. If you are reading something or listening to something and you actually are interested in it and want to know what's going to happen, if you find a speaking partner and you actually enjoy speaking to that person, your motivation is going to increase drastically. Set goals for yourself that are achievable, that are reasonable, and celebrate yourself when you get there. I do have a free fluency guide that you can download in the description. Within that document, there are some examples of how to set an achievable goal. As a language learner, it is so common to have a massive fear of making mistakes. If you want to reach fluency, the next level in English, you have to let go of that fear of making mistakes and realize that making mistakes is an opportunity for you to learn, and that the world isn't going to burst into flames if you make a mistake. Making mistakes is absolutely inevitable. So allow yourself to make those mistakes. Give yourself permission to make those mistakes and recognize that making mistakes is going to help you make progress faster. Last but not least, definitely not least, this one is very important, is to work on what you specifically need to work on. You need to fill in those gaps for yourself. There is no one certain way or one certain thing that everyone should be learning. We are all different, and there might be some things that are more important for you to learn than for someone else, depending on your goals.
The Pareto principle suggests that 80% of your results come from only 20% of your efforts. So it isn't about trying to learn everything, but instead just focusing your efforts in the right areas. Again, 20% of the things that you learn and the skills that you exercise will contribute to 80% of your improvement.
If you work with a teacher or a coach taking lessons, that is a really good way to figure out quickly what it is that you specifically need to work on. If that is not an option for you, having conversations with other people is another fantastic way for you to recognize your gaps. If you are having a conversation and you find yourself getting stuck every time you need to use a certain tense, then that is a red flag for you that you need to spend some time engaging with that verb tense. So what I would do is, while that is still fresh in my mind, after I've had a conversation with someone and I think, oh God, that was really hard, I would make a note of it so that I don't forget and set aside some time in that schedule that I made for myself and practice that skill explicitly. Again, while having a teacher can really help you identify those areas, you can identify a lot of those areas yourself if you are speaking regularly. Take some time to reflect on your English specifically, what it is that you need and want, and create a plan. You can get the free fluency plan that I mentioned right in the description of this video. I created this document to help you create your own fluency plan so that you can have some structure to how you make progress. Your progress is in your control. You will achieve whatever effort you put in. I also want to thank you for all of your support on my YouTube channel. It has not gone unnoticed. I appreciate it so much. And if you want to see another video from me, make sure that you subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.